Abid, and today I have with me Mr. James FitzGibbon, and he's a very versatile and creative personality, and I'm very excited to interview him today. Before we go towards the interview, I would like to tell us something about our guest. So basically, James is a verse writer, particularly a fiction writer and an experienced educationist. He has been an excellent teacher of academic English for over 25 years in Turkey, Oman, UAE, and Qatar. Currently in the UK, he is focusing primarily on writing. His writing interests include fictional creative writing, majorly focusing on psychological underpinnings of the characters. He has written over about 70 short stories, one novella, which is named Desert Sun, which is inspired from the time he spent in the Middle East. Next, we have the Books of Bard, which is currently a work which is in progress. And at the moment, he's also working on his PhD in creative and critical writing. So, James, the bridge welcomes you on board. Have I missed something?
No, that was a very, very good summary. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, so I would like to start from the very scratch. A very simple question. How did your creative experience of writing started?
Well, I started writing when I was about 9, and my local primary school published my book, which I was very excited about, as you can imagine. Being a 9-year-old, that was a big achievement for me. From that time, I've always been writing, and I've never been very far away from the small black book I keep with me, so that I can write down ideas as I walk around the streets and so forth. Yeah, so I've always been sort of writing down ideas and developing ideas into short stories when I get back. Of course, these are the written forms, but I have also lots of mental notes which I keep about writing. But my life was spent in education. I was a teacher for a long time in many different countries until I became disabled. And I became disabled around 2018. Yeah, I had a diagnosis of spastic paraplegia at that time. So my world, rather than sort of be about teaching and being in classrooms and being in various points in the world, became very small world indeed. And I've been confined just to this small area. And then I thought, what should I do? It does take a big time to get your head around being disabled and being unable to do things that you always did before. But eventually I wanted to concentrate on my creative writing, and I've been doing that since 2018, full time, I would say. I started the PhD in academic writing with Dr. Alan Bilton at Swansea University, because I wanted to produce a very critically controlled piece of work. And that is what I'm trying to do now.
Amazing, excellent. That's a great motivation that you have right there for our viewers. James, tell me that you have been published on multiple platforms. I think that's pretty evident. How do you feel as a fictional personality, not a fictional personality, but a person who writes fictional personalities? So what is the main subject matter of your stories and how do you pursue them?
Yeah, Aisha, good question. I like to write about very personal issues. If you're looking for car crashes or violence or guns or anything like that, perhaps my writing is not a very good place to go. I like to write about personal dilemma affecting people in the world they live in, and about the psychology of their thought processes, which they go through in order to maintain the world, or in order to chase the world, I should say, that they really want. So mine's very, very personal based. It's about just normal people living a normal life, but it's about their thoughts. And as you know yourself, thoughts can take many different forms, and they can go in many different directions.
Indeed, they can. Okay, let's talk a little about your novella. The title seems to be very interesting, Desert Sun, right?
That's right, yeah.
So what about that? I do know that it is about your experience in the Middle East. So how did that come, and what is it about? Tell us something about that.
Okay, I started in the Middle East in 1993 in Turkey, and then in Oman, and then going to Dubai, and then Qatar. So for about a quarter of a century, I have lived in the Middle East. And that has put some very important impressions on my mind. And being a writer, I wanted to describe these impressions. No doubt you will have seen or come across some people who are not very good leaders of people. Yes. Some managers are not so good. And I think there's a difference between what is understood to be a manager in here, or more at least my idea, and what people take to be a manager in different parts of the world. Some people are good at this, some people are bad at this. I have come across good managers and bad managers, and Desert Sun was basically about a bad manager which I came across, and rather than being angry with him, I wanted to understand what made this person into the person that he became. And so I wrote a story called Desert Sun, and Desert Sun goes back and traces the life history of this person. He was Egyptian, so from a small village in Egypt, it traces his trajectory about going to the United States to achieve a PhD, and then come back to the Middle East to teach in a lucrative job, which is what many teachers from the Middle East do, and many students do that as well. Yeah. So I wanted to try to put together my feelings about this particular manager, and my feelings about writing and inculcating sort of my ideas with my writing.
Amazing. I want to talk a little further about your experience in the Middle East. It was a very, very unusual move. How did you find the people of Middle East? We know that everyone is different based on their nationality. So how was that part of the area, and what was different than in the UK?
Okay, I find that in the UK and in the Middle East, there are different cultures at play. And very much this culture here is a to-do culture. People are always looking at their watches and asking how are you doing, and what are you doing. It's a very to-do culture. It's very individual, and it's about people doing things. In the Middle East, it's not really that sort of culture. It's a culture more of to be, where people just enjoy being alive. They enjoy their friends, their family, they enjoy appreciating the world around them, you know. And I think that's the difference between the two. So this is a very to-do culture, and that is a very to-be culture. It seemed to me that when I first went to Turkey in 1993, I found the to-be culture quite strong there. And this I liked. Going down to Oman, again, a very to-be culture. And the people were very open and friendly. They were smiling and enjoying life, you know, enjoying their friends and family and studying and the pursuit of knowledge. And that was the same in Dubai, the same in Qatar as well. So I found that the Middle Eastern part of the world, and I'm sure as far as South Asia as well, that is the case. Of course, we meet people who are different sometimes. They like to be culture people, you know, to do culture, and of course to do in a be culture. But I think being and enjoying life is what we're here for. I think if we miss the important things of life, like being with family and friends and enjoying life, we miss out on so much. And I think that people in the Western world, they are far too influenced by money, the pursuit of money, and stupid things like what time is it, and plans and things. These things are not so important, I would say.
Interesting. That's a very interesting look of it. All right, the current work that you're working on, the Books of Bard. Tell us something about that. What is it about? Where is it heading? And when can we expect it?
Okay, the Books of Bard is a title which I arranged with my supervisor for my PhD. Basically, the books are chapters. It's a division of Bard, and Bard basically means a traveling poet, or a person who tells stories whilst they are traveling. The Books of Bard it works on a number of levels. The first level is about a recently disabled man, me, for example. I go traveling around on local buses just to see different places. Usually in the book it's about me going for a particular purpose, and that's what I do. Yeah. So that is the first level. That is the overarching plot of the book. Secondly, while I am traveling, my mind is full of different stories and reflections about my life while I'm traveling. This second part includes the main plot lines of characters in the book, which I've put in. There's that Dr. Allah figure again, if you remember from Desert Sun, because he is so involved with my being disabled. And there's a wife, a love aspect as well. Um, the third level is it works on a twist in the story, and I'm just working on that now, so I'm loath to let you know about that for the moment. The book is a long time in coming. It will be a long time. I plan. Well, my PhD is basically 6 years. I'm doing a 6-year PhD. So at the end of those 6 years, the book will be released. But I hope to release it before that time, because I've already plotted the way I want the book to go.
All right. I'm looking forward to your book, and we'll be sharing it on our platform as well. You were talking about your PhD, so I really want to know, how's your experience with PhD at Swansea University, and you're already an accomplished writer. What do you expect? What changes do you expect in your writing after the completion of your degree?
Do you know, Aisha, I've got no expectations, basically. I mean, I just enjoy writing. I've got no career aspirations, nothing like that. I just like sitting down and playing with words and meanings and crafting words and meanings together. I've got no other aspirations apart from that. The reason why I'm doing a PhD, you might ask, is anything about the future? Not really. It just allows me to write and to put and to craft words and meanings together, which I enjoy doing, into a story. And I'm working with Dr. Alan Bilton, who is the head of the creative writing section at Swansea University. He is an accomplished author, and he has written maybe 4 or 5 full-length novels. He understands what it's like to write, and more importantly, how the reader reacts to what is written. And he has shaped a lot of my work. I think that anyone who wants to go into creative writing should be in the hands of a good mentor, because that mentor really does shape the work that you want to get done. To answer your question finally, Aisha, I would say that if I wanted anything, would be enough money to be able for me to write. That's what I'm after. I just want to continue writing as long as I can. That's it.
That's such an inspirational thought. Alright, you have been to different countries, as we already discussed. As a teacher, how was it talking to non-native speakers and teaching them academic writing? What was your experience like?
If I answer that, I'm going to speak about what I'm doing at the moment. I am involved in language testing, about finding the level of a non-English speaker's level in the CEFR standard. The CEFR is the framework in Europe which decides someone's ability to speak. I have been trying to speak slowly and intelligibly, and perhaps you can hear that from the way I speak. Yeah. And that is a direct result of my teaching, because if you're in a classroom and you speak very fast, then students will say, what did you say? Or what did you mean? And to try to avoid that all the time, I've been speaking so that they can understand easily what I say. Can you understand easily what I say, Aisha? Yeah. Okay. And for them to feel successful, I think that many educational approaches doesn't really allow the student to feel successful, and a student must feel that success in order to give them motivation to continue. Learning a foreign language is not easy at all, especially when you get to the intermediate area where you learn and you learn and you learn, and it seems that you're not really learning very much sometimes. Yeah. Until one day there's that spark which comes, and you are thinking that all the work you've put in suddenly makes sense, and then you can go up to upper intermediate into advanced. But to get over that pre-intermediate section, and the intermediate section requires a lot of work and a lot of good guidance. And I think that a lot of students are not guided very well about how they achieve these things. There's two forms of motivation. One is about being motivated to earn money and to succeed and to get a good job, that sort of thing, and the other sort of motivation is about an actual love for the language, an actual love for the literature, and wanting to work towards understanding that more. I would say about 90% of my students have the motivation to earn money and to get a good job. That's fair enough. I mean, that's the world we live in. But that 10%, they are really the interesting students who want to learn about the language, who want to learn about the idioms of the language, who want to learn how to express themselves in writing and in ideas. And I'm always, like all teachers, I guess, I'm always on the lookout for that 10%. The 90% you deal with, it's the normal day-to-day class structure. But that 10% makes teaching especially very worthwhile as far as I'm concerned. Yeah? So, I mean, the idea you have at Bridge, I think, is that 10%. You want to be able to share your ideas across borders, and I think that's a really, really valuable sort of vision to have. I think that is only that vision is only taken by about 10% of people, and I think it's a very valuable thing to have. To answer your question, I enjoy teaching. I've always enjoyed teaching. Either the guys who are just learning to get a good job or money or whatever, and the people who, well, especially the people who really want to have the sort of motivation that will continue from then until now. It's more of a sort of lifelong education.
Thank you very much for your kind words about Bridge. And that's definitely very thoughtful of you to think about that 10%. All right, James, as a teacher, since we're talking about your teaching, what is your philosophy about teaching, particularly?
But my philosophy about teaching, Aisha, is about motivation. And in order to motivate students, you need to give them tasks which are they understand and they enjoy doing. Also, they can be successful at. If they enjoy doing tasks they're successful at and understand why they're doing them, not just that boring guy who teaches grammar and translation, that sort of. I'm sure you know. You know what I mean. That sort of person. I'm not that. I want to get students to express themselves in ways that I would find motivational, and I want to give them very motivational tasks to do which allow them to succeed. If you give that sort of things to students at an early age, say pre-intermediate stage, then I think that you are on the way to producing some students who will really look back and they will value their educational time. That sort of teacher I wanted to be, Aisha. And I think that in the 25 years, I would say I spent about 7 or 8 years actually sort of being able to do that. You need time to learn your craft, of course, and you need time to think about what it is you want to achieve. And I would say in the last 7 or 8 years, I really enjoyed teaching because I felt that I was molding students' minds to being a sort of in that 10%, I would say. If maybe not if in that 10%, but certainly people who were of value, and they would give value to whatever profession they join in the end.
That's amazing. It's very refreshing to see teachers actually, coming to us the more creative and more accepting side of teaching.
Yeah.
In the course of your life, what are some very interesting lessons that you have learned to, bring you where you are right now?
When I when I was a teacher living in the Middle East, and before being disabled, I would say that money and possessions and cars and houses, all that sort of stuff, were important. Having been disabled, or having had that very different lifestyle thrust upon me, I would say that these things mean nothing. Really, they mean nothing. I mean, of course, it's important to pay the bills and to have a car and things to sort of go here and there with. But I mean, don't make that sort of the end all of your existence. I mean, that's just a means to enable you to continue your life. And you continue your life, I think, being close to friends, family, to try to start love in life. These are the important things. And to chase after money and stuff is just absurd. And I think that when you have a change of direction in life, which really makes you think about what's important and what's not important, and what is a complete waste of time, then hopefully, I think most people in the writing profession would agree with what I say. But an awful lot of the world, they tend to sort of chase after money and wealth and all that crap far too strongly, and I think that that is not the right way to go. Then you can really say that you've wasted your life if that's all you can achieve. And I mean, the world is full of rich people who sort of say that, oh, I have this house and that house and this many cars and so forth. But that is all nonsense, I think. The humble man who can say that, at least in life, I have been able to live a life according to my values of being a family person. Maybe I'm not very important, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing, I think, is to embrace a to be culture, which I think that's the most important thing.
Right. That's a very good piece of advice, and I completely agree with it. James, how do you see Bridge as a platform? The Bridge is trying to connect writers all over the world, and introduce new ventures for creative writers who are, it's very hard to get published nowadays. So,
of course,
striving hard to find new writers and have those creative minds among. So, what do you think about the Bridge as an initiative?
If you go on my 10% analogy, yeah, I think the Bridge is attempting to do something which is very, very important and valuable. It tries to connect those few people, say about 7% of the population, together to be able to share ideas across the world. And I think that's a very valuable thing. For example, the experience I have in England is very different to the experience you have in Pakistan. At the moment, it's quite cool here. In Pakistan, it's very hot, isn't it? At the moment, very hot, over 40 or 50 degrees. So, I mean, you see the world very differently, both from my point of view and from your point of view, and to be able to share that knowledge of how you see the world. From England or from Nigeria or from Pakistan or from Bangladesh or anywhere around the world is very important, I think, to be able to share your ideas from person to person. I think it's because at the end of the day, these are just perceptions of how we see the world.
As an educationist and a writer, what advice would you like to extend to everybody who's watching you?
Well, my advice is very short, Aisha. I would say don't be tempted by the stupid things in life. Always go for a thing of value. And that thing of value is the thing that is probably the most simple thing that money can't really buy. Of course, you have to deal with the necessities of life, but don't overlook the fact that life is actually very simple. I read a book recently and it said that the average person has 4,000 weeks on this planet to live. 4,000 weeks. That's not very long, is it? And believe me, I mean, I'm older than you are. That time goes past very, very quickly, and suddenly you are sort of an old geezer like me. So I would say, don't waste time. Separate the things in your life which are of value and the things which are not. There's so many young people, they go chasing after money and cars and that sort of stuff, houses. Um, these are not the most important things. Just focus instead on the important things in life. And then at the end of your life, you can say, I followed my heart.
That's some great advice. I would like everybody to take it. All right, before signing off, I really want to know how do you write? I mean, you did talk to me about your short stories, and you did talk to me about your novella. But I want to know that when you sit on the table and when you hold that pen, what is the particular vision that that you want to pursue, and how do you create your characters? How do you form your words?
Yeah. First of all, I was speaking to my son, and he said that creative writing is a very sort of amorphous process. It's not indeed. It's not indeed. You really have to think about the place very much, the characters, and the plot line. And you've got to bring it into a certain word count, which is it's not easy sometimes. It's not easy at all. You have to think along those lines to produce a work that will allow you to be able to continue writing. My favorite sort of writing, I find, is just the amorphous kind, just sort of sitting down to write your ideas. And then once you've written your ideas, then you can shape it up into a story with plots and characters and places. But these things you've already thought about anyway. For most writers. So I would say that I fall into two categories. The first category, I think, just to write down your impressions and your images of the world. And then once you've done that, then you can shape it up. It's like writing an academic essay in many ways. First of all, you need the ideas. And to put into your thesis statement. And then once you have that, then you can sort of form the short story around that. But the most important thing are the ideas. And so just to be able to sort of play with words and meaning and images that you have in your mind and describing those images in your mind, those are the most important things. And to do that, I find that music is very important to me. I like to create written works to music because music sort of gives me inspiration about writing more and more things, especially the oud. Do you know the oud?
No, I don't know much about it.
It's a stringed instrument like a guitar, or classical music. Those particularly, or even guitar music, any stringed instrument. Those are particularly, I find them particularly inspirational in my work. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. That's a lovely thing. Thanks so much, James, for a lovely and amazing informative interview.
Well, so thank you, Asha, for being able to run a very professional and very good interview. It's not easy to make a good interview sometimes, is it?
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say. And I hope that I will be seeing you on the multiple platforms that Bridge is offering.
And I'll come and see you in Pakistan as well. Don't forget.
I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Okay.
All right. In the end, I would like to remind my viewers that The Bridge is an absolute platform that is striving hard to connect all the amateur as well as published writers. And we hope that you all visit our website, bridgethenations.com, and there is an abundance of creative writing challenges that you can join. Thank you so much, James, and I hope that everybody has enjoyed the interview. We shall be seeing you for the next interview.